Last week, I spent 2 full days with a guy who's worth nearly $100 million. In fact, two guys who combined net worth is north of $100 million. And as soon as I got back from that meeting, I had to write down all the things that I learned, the takings I got from them. But just to give you some context, these are guys that have this majority of this net worth is liquid, which means they have exited or sold companies and, profited or cashed in on that money. It's not me saying these guys are worth $100 million in company valuations of companies that haven't yet been sold. This is liquid valuation, which is a completely different ball game. And last week I got the absolute luxury to spend 2 full days with two guys who have analyzed our business and given us so much to go away and apply knowledge that we can take and we can apply to our business, which was absolutely incredible. And what I want to do in this video is I've put 9, but I think I've got 2 bonus takeaways of things that I learned from that meeting. And I want to show you guys and tell you guys about it. These guys both own marketing agencies. So this is so applicable to all of you guys in here who own a marketing agency or some form of consulting business. You literally couldn't ask for any more than to meet someone who's done the ultimate end game, which is to exit a business and make enough money, not only to, for them to never have to work again, but for their kids and their kids' probably never have to work again if they didn't want to. So I'm not going to give away any names. I'm not going to tell you who I spoke with or why we met up with them or anything like that. It is not important for this video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about just giving you the takeaways that I took from it. So we're going to jump straight into takeaway number 1. Number 1 was the first thing I noticed is that he just motivates everyone around him. Like when you're in his presence, he makes you feel like you are so achievable and capable of doing whatever it is that you want to do, whether you want to start a business or whether you want to grow your business or whether you want to grow a sales team. And he motivates you to want to do that. And that is the first thing that I took away. He makes you kind of feel unstoppable, kind of feel like anything's possible, which I guess is the whole point of like a CEO or leader's kind of role in a business. So he ticks that box for sure. The second one is he doesn't read a ton of books. It's actually a big surprise to me. We'll talk about it later, which book it was, but he based one of his kind of presentations all around a certain book, and he'd only ever read the first 3 chapters, which I thought was extremely interesting. And what he actually told me was entrepreneurs don't need all the information. They can take the idea and apply it themselves. That's what a true entrepreneur is. It's about application, not about just constantly reading books. Once you get the concept of a book, you understand what the book's about. It's about applying that knowledge to the best of your ability. And he doesn't get that from reading a ton of different books. He takes a few books and the knowledge he takes, or I suppose you might say, the information he takes from that book, and he applies it hardcore, like real hardcore. So that's the second thing I took away from this, which is interesting because everyone says you have to read books like, knowledge is power and all this stuff. But him, it's all about application and learning from real life experiences. One of the phrases he says is sometimes you need to let go to grow, which is something he said to us about a few areas of our business. A lot of times people emotionally hold on to certain aspects of their life or their business. And by letting go, it's like cutting that arm off, letting it go, it allows you to survive and thrive in the future. Although it may be hard and potentially emotionally damaging in the short term, it will inevitably make you a stronger person, a stronger business, whatever part of your life you're talking about in this scenario. But I really like that phrase, sometimes you need to let go to grow. I think if we all sat down and wrote down some of the areas of our life or our business that we're holding on to emotionally, if we cut those off and allowed ourselves to grow, it would impact our lives massively in the future. Fourth one, which sounds obvious, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners don't practice this as well as they could, is he knows his numbers inside out, and any companies that he's investing in, or if he's talking to you about your business, he wants to know your numbers. Like, he's not interested in unless he has that information in front of him, which is obviously so important. It allows you to make decisions not on emotions but on facts. If you know all of your revenue, your revenue, taxes, gross profit, or your costs broken down, your growth numbers, growth month to month, growth year over year, what areas of your business you're lacking, what areas of your business you're improving, what your churn figures are, what your retention figures are, your average customer lifetime value, your average customer monthly payment, all of these things. He really has an eye or clue in on these numbers, and he really rubs it off on you. Okay, he's really big on you understanding these just as much as he does. So that's what I took away from that. And obviously, if you don't know your numbers, you are simply just guessing. You're just guessing with your direction of your company. You're doing it based on emotions, not based on facts. Number 5, he's obsessed with blue oceans. Now, those who don't know the book Blue Ocean Strategy, you've heard me harp on about this in my previous video. He is obsessed with blue oceans. In fact, I would go as far to say he simply does not enter a market where he's a commodity or he's directly competing with others. He's always looking for a way to create blue oceans. Difference is, what he doesn't look at is he has a big mindset in terms of scalability. So he's never looking at niches. For him, it's not about niches, it's about blue oceans. It's not about the niche you're in, but how can you serve the market in a way that hasn't been served before. So like, there's various different ways of doing this, and I'm not going to go into too much depth, but he will only enter a market when he thinks there's scalability and he can scale this business into a blue ocean that's uncontested, i.e. there's no one on the market providing as much value for this and as much service for the price he can offer it in the market he can offer it. He won't enter the market. So he's big on blue oceans, and that's a big takeaway I took from this. Number 6 is he only focuses on EBITDA. This is a phrase that's used a lot in the US, not so much in the UK. It basically means net profit. So essentially profit before, it's called earnings before interest, tax, dividends, and I'm not sure what the last one means, but basically means your net profit, your profit before you pay dividends, so your director's remuneration, and before you pay taxes. So if your business does 300,000 in revenue, it does 200,000 in costs, i.e. salaries, cost of business. There's 100 grand left before you pay your taxes, before you take the money out of the business for yourself. That is your EBITDA, okay? And he only focuses on that. He's not interested in revenue. In fact, when he looks at a business growth, he's looking at profit growth. He's not interested. He says, revenue is just a vanity metric, and it's not particularly relevant to him. Like, a company could be doing 100 million but only doing 1 million in EBITDA, whereas another company could be doing 5 million whereas 2 million in EBITDA. So he's only interested in profit, which I find really, really interesting. Number 7 is just being around him in his office. You're connected with so many smart people. He obviously has a way of bringing smart people together, and when I say smart, I mean smart in an entrepreneurial sense. People that have the same ambition and goal as he does, and want to be a part of that kind of growth and do those things together. I never met so many smart people as before I went there and started hanging around the office, and you meet so many cool people doing different things in different sectors, but it's just, you just don't get that experience. I had never had that experience anywhere else, so that was a completely new thing to me, and it was amazing. Number 8, if you're good at something, he will make you know about it. So he will make it known to you. If he thinks you're good at something, he'll point it out, often in front of other people, so it makes you feel good, makes you feel pretty special. I've read a number of communication books for those that you haven't, and this is quite a key, quite something that's talked about a lot, but a lot of people just don't know the basics of good communication, which is making others feel confident, making others feel good in social situations, and he's definitely good at doing that. Number 9, does more listening than talking. So he's always listening to you, getting you to open up more, and he's really good at listening. A lot of people are just waiting for their opportunity to say something. So when you say something to them, they're thinking about what they're going to say next. They're not thinking about what you're saying and then asking you more questions around it, so you elaborate on what you're saying, and so you feel good in the conversation, you feel like you're getting something from it. It's what they can take from it, whereas with him I found it was the opposite. But he is an exceptional storyteller. Anything you throw at him, he's got a cool little story or anecdote to tell you, or a real life experience, and I just don't think you get that until you've been in those scenarios and you've had those life experiences, of failing, of succeeding, of selling out, of growing, and all these things. They just give you so much perspective in business and life to help you to tell better stories about scenarios and explain things in such a way which people understand. And then the last one, which is my number 11 out of 9, is I would explain the way he talks about growth as is a case of when and how, and never if. If you're planning a growth of your company, which we are, and what we're trying to do, he's not saying to you, if we do this, if we do that. He's saying, when we do this, and how are we going to do that? How are we going to hit this? And what's the plan? Which I think comes from an area of confidence, like 100% confidence in his ability. I think having that previous experience of growing and exiting something just gives you this level of confidence that you can't get elsewhere, which I found really interesting. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say today. It's just 10 things that I learned hanging around with people that are way more successful than me. Hopefully you guys can take something away from this. It's a short video today, but as always, leave anything you want to know in the comments. I do have a free Facebook group. I do have a free email list, which I actually sent these 9 points to in a blog post last week, so you would have got it early. But yeah, free Facebook group. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and join the free email list. All the links will be down in the description. Otherwise, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.